It's a tale as old as time. Someone in a gaming community comes up with a take, bad or otherwise, then someone who disagrees with that take proceeds to bring into question the person's experience or skill level. Whether it be rank, playtime, when they started playing the game, or whatever, what is being looked for is a way to invalidate the person they are talking to. This is one of the reasons I detest ranked modes, not because of the concept of one, but because those shiny PNGs you get inside the clouds of ones and zeros gives people a superiority complex that rivals Vecna himself. You will never meet a bigger group of insufferable losers than people who have reached the highest rank in any given video game. Hell, even when your rank is invisible, you still get people telling you how much better they are than you because of what they imagine their rank to be. In DBD, the ever so elusive higher MMR is one of the main weapons for attempting to beat arguments you don't agree with to death, despite the fact that none of us can actually see our MMR, and I can guarantee you that more than 99% of you are not in the MMR you think you are. But more so than MMR, the thing people like to flex and subsequently insult people for is playtime. Regardless of the argument at hand, if one of the people has at least 2 to 3k hours or so, they will attempt to wield that as a weapon, demanding you tell them what your play hours are, and no matter what you answer, it isn't enough for them, especially the higher in hour count they go. Have you ever been in a discussion about balance with someone who has like 7k hours or more? They will look you dead in the face and tell you 6k hours isn't enough to know about the game. It's kind of ridiculous. Hours in DBD are the rank of DBD. People put it in their Twitter bios, Twitch titles, I love you brand, Steam profiles. I swear to God, some of you fuckers would slap your DBD hours on a resume if you thought it would help you get that assistant manager position at McDonald's. And I'm not saying hours don't have any meaning at all when it comes to balance discussions. I've told stories in the past about new players I've come across that have the most horrendous takes. I myself can even look at older videos of mine and see the vast differences between the takes I had when I was under 1,000 hours and me now at over 1,700 hours. And I'm sure that at 2 to 2,500 hours, my takes will be even more different. But the point that I'm trying to get to here is that people who use hours as a counterpoint to bad takes are always wrong. They may not be factually wrong. If someone is trying to tell you that Hangman's Trick is a slept-on perk that is actually overpowered, then obviously that person is wrong, regardless of their hours. But if you hear that take, and then you find out that they only have, say, 100 hours in the game, and you point out that they only have 100 hours in the game as your counterpoint, then you have, in essence, failed at that argument. We can go on and on why Hangman's Trick sucks. It's too situational. It doesn't provide any inherent value. It's outclassed in any way by awakened awareness. None of these reasons have to do with how many hours someone has, and so using their hours as a form of counterpoint loses all meaning. Their hours might explain their lack of knowledge, but it doesn't immediately discredit the things they are saying. Another point to bring up is that at a certain point, hours just stop mattering. In most live service games, Valorant, Apex, Overwatch, League, etc., the more hours you play, the more likely you are to be better at the game because you get a lot of mechanical practice in, and mechanics are the cornerstones of most games. However, DBD is not a mechanically intensive game, it's a knowledge-intensive game, and there is only so much knowledge you can gain in the first chunk of the hours you play. The game knowledge between someone with, say, 2k hours and someone with 10k hours is minimal at best. Now, I will say that 2 to 3k hours is probably where you hit this knowledge cap, assuming you actually put time into learning the game. But someone with 500 hours can easily attain this game knowledge if they hyperfixate on the game itself, looking up guides, tips and tricks, reading all the perks and add-ons and such, and committing those things to memory. I've seen players with 500 hours who have far more game knowledge than players with 5,000 hours. And that's pretty much the big crux of it. Past a certain hour cap, you will have learned everything there is to learn. You will have learned how the game works. You will have learned how the maps are set up. You will have learned what it takes to win a game and what it takes to not win a game. And the only things left for you to learn are all of the little tiny tips and tricks that come with very, very niche subjects. And this is why, while you won't see a big knowledge discrepancy between somebody with 2k hours and 10k hours, you might see a big mechanical discrepancy with someone that has, say, 2K hours on Blight versus somebody that has 10K hours on Blight, because they've taken more time to be able to practice the mechanics. And I'm not saying you can't learn anything past this point. You definitely can. There's always going to be new stuff to learn. It's one of the reasons I love this game so much. But what I'm talking about specifically is the fundamentals of the game. The base knowledge of the game can only reach so high before there's no difference between somebody with a 5-digit hour count and somebody with a 6-digit hour count. This is why I get annoyed when people come into my stream and start feeding me obvious funking information like I don't know shit at this point. Look behind you and chase, Kaiser. Yeah, no shit, Sherlock. Thanks for the giga-brained advice. Looking behind me would have 100% stopped me from going down in the middle of the dead zone on Torment Creek. Thanks, I guess. And this is another issue that rears its head when people value hours too much. They think because they have more hours than you that you just automatically don't know as much as they do. So they will insinuate you're fucking stupid and feed you information you don't need. No shit. One time someone came into stream and told me verbatim, if you watch the ground against Pyramid Head, his M2 shows up before it can hit you. And when I responded, yes, I'm aware, they said, well, you only have 1,200 hours, which I did at the time. But bro, it's not like in 1,200 hours, I've never ran into a Pyramid Head. Please, for the love of fuck, get your head out of your ass. What sparked this entire video was in my video where I said I disagree with Hens on whether or not Billy is S tier or A tier. If you are going to attempt to counter argue me and your instinct is to compare my hours to Hens' hours, I would ignore you because that is irrelevant to the conversation. And some people in the comments decided to make it far too known that they think ours is a perfectly reasonable thing to bring up when discussing takes, as it, quote, accurately represents how bad someone is at the game. And that's a special level of delusion I just can't get behind. Remember in the beginning of this video how I was talking about superiority complexes? This is what I meant. People value hours so much that they completely ignore the points given in favor of this mystical hierarchy of knowledge and skill that's somehow tied to hours. So the next time that you're in a discussion with somebody and you feel the overwhelming need to ask them for their hours to see if you can get some sort of thing to shame them with, maybe remember two things. Number one, you at some point in time didn't have a lot of hours, and you at some point in time said some very stupid shit because of the fact you didn't have a lot of hours. So shaming someone on their hours is basically shaming them for not getting to the game as soon as you did, or not dedicating themselves to the game as much as you have. And number two, just because you have more hours than someone, it doesn't make you right. I once had somebody in my chat who had 8,000 hours of playtime, and they told me that Myers' stalk is fine. That Myers is completely fine as a killer. There's nothing wrong with him. 8,000 hours! And I was kind of joking with them. I was like, you sound like someone who's only been playing the game for 20 hours and only on the survivor side. They took it in stride. They did laugh. But the point is that just because you have a shitload of hours, it doesn't mean you're going to be right. And just because someone has less hours than you, it doesn't mean that they're going to be wrong. In any case, I want to know what you think. Let me know down below. And as always, a great big special thank you to my channel members listed on screen now. If you want to find out how to become a channel member today, get awesome perks like seeing videos early, merch discount codes, and more, then please click that join button down below. I love you guys so much, and I will see you in the next one. Can't get enough daily Dead by Daylight content? Then check out my second channel, The Kaiser Extras, where I upload gameplay footage, me reacting to your Dead by Daylight clips, and more. We also have a new short that goes live every single day, so you can catch up on all the greatest clips from stream. We'll see you over there. Link is in the description.